How should we punish people who spoil this brilliant TV show?
Oh God, how should we punish them? We should. Well, I don't want to go too medieval. A tenner in a jar, and then we can all have a party at the end of it. I don't know.
Off with their heads. Off with their heads, I say. Joffrey type punishments.
I think he's in Belgium or something. This math teacher is punishing naughty kids by giving Game of Thrones spoilers away. I think that's a little bit drastic.
I think they should be put in a pit of Unsullied, and the pit will close in on them. And what happens in there, I couldn't possibly tell you, because it's an unsullied secret.
But there's an immense sense of kind of ownership about the show. Is that the people who've read the books and the people who've got into this, I think they have a sort of real respect for the storytelling and the complexity of it.
I don't know, I just think that they should be...
All right, I can't handle it anymore. Go, 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 go!
Welcome to Cordkillers. Our mission is to report the intel from the front lines of the cord-cutting revolution to you, the existing and potential cord killers. We're not the cord killers. You are the cord killers out there, and we want you to be able, whether you kill a cord or not, to watch the stuff you love when you want, where you want, how you want, on any device you please. I'm Tom Merritt. This, my friends, is Brian Brushwood.
I mean, you say Brian Brushwood. I say the guy who couldn't handle seeing all of his favorite characters from Game of Thrones, like, dressed up as pansy-ass Los Angeles douchebags. I hated this. They're not actors. These are the actual characters from a land far away that I'm terrified of. And all of a sudden, I could just picture running into some hipster bar. That was disgusting, sir.
Wait a minute. You're picking... Okay, because I love that opening video because it's them, like, saying, what should happen to people who spoil Game of Thrones? Well, here, let me think of something related to my character. You immediately go for their clothing.
No, I go for the fact that, like, seeing Samwell Tarly, like, actually presenting himself looking like a gentleman, like, that's a guy I could hang out and have a beer with. No! The actual Samwell Tarly comes from a foreign land that I've never encountered.
Think of it this way, though, Brian. A lot of times when you see these sorts of interviews for characters, you're totally thrown out of it because you're like, well, wait a minute. They're English? They don't have an English accent on the show I watch, but because it's Game of Thrones, it's okay.
Well, okay, there is that, but still, it's like, in many ways, it's worse because, like, I'd rather have, when I watched Battlestar Galactica and I found out that, like, half the characters were English, I'm like, ooh, but, like, now to see this video and find out that all the characters are hipsters? Ooh!
Wait, I don't see how all the characters are hipsters. They did not strike me as that.
They all looked very too fashionable for my tastes,
What,
sir.
because they were wearing collared shirts?
Yes, and they were clean and they didn't have, like, filthy teeth.
Because they bathed recently?
I need to believe, like, I'll tell you what, don't ever show me a picture of the guy who plays the Hound out of character, because that guy genuinely, I want to believe he's actually burned on the face and he's actually that bad of a bastard. No, okay, well, please promise me that's the case.
I will anyway, whether it's true or not. I promise you. He has been horribly disfigured.
Good.
In real life.
Also, he definitely murders people in real life. He runs over children all the time.
Only in the service of protecting young ladies, though. Let's go to our primary target.
Yeah, smooth as silk, bro.
And of course, the primary target this week is the launch of the Amazon Fire TV on Wednesday. Just as we suspected, it was a streaming device, $99, about 0.7 inches thin for you Americans out there who still use the Middle Ages system of measurement. Kind of the size of a CD case. It's very, very slim. It looks very nice. I did a little unboxing video about it. Good specs. 2 gigabytes of RAM in there, quad-core processor, discrete GPU, and you can tell it screams. It's right there with the Roku 3 as the best performing set-top box that I've used. It's got this voice search where you press a microphone button on the remote and just say the name of something, and it actually works. Like, everything that I've tried has pretty much showed up. The search results may be a separate issue, but it always understands what I'm saying. And that's where it starts to go downhill, Brian.
Wait, no, hold on. So you're telling me you already bought one of these? You already have one yourself?
Yes, I took a little of our Patreon money and I bought a $99 Amazon Fire TV because they started shipping on Wednesday as soon as the announcement happened. And I'm Amazon Prime member, so I got the free shipping. So, actually, I think I paid the $4 for the one day. So I wanted to get it fast.
Okay, there are certain parts of this entire announcement that are entirely predictable and make sense. Yes, it makes sense that they would create a device that would help to complete their ecosystem. I think that Amazon has really pulled a coup with the Kindle Fire. I think the Kindle Fire smelled of Me Too crap when it came out, but instead it turned out to really motivate a base of the consumer base in a good way. Out of everything, the thing I'm most surprised by is the video game-like controller that they gave out. I would never expected for something that is going to be marketed to, again, my parents, my in-laws. I would never expected them to have embraced such a gamer-centric visual as that iconic, two-handed controller.
You got to pay
how does
extra
that feel?
for that, though. You know that, right?
No, I don't. But
It's
I just found out now.
$40 separate, sold separately.
And did you buy it?
No, I did not.
So
buy the
does it come?
controller.
What remote does it come with out of the box?
It comes with a little Apple TV looking remote. That's the one where you press the microphone button and you do the and that's kind of annoying because otherwise I would just put it on my Logitech Harmony universal remote.
Right.
But I can't do the voice. It doesn't have a microphone, right? So I can't do the voice recognition unless I use the Amazon remote. And then if I want to play video games, I can use the remote to control some video games, but not all of them are going to work very well. So then you kind of want to buy that controller, which is $40, almost half the price of the original box. They do give you 1,000 Amazon coins, which is, from what I could tell, probably get you around 10 games or so. So they're giving you something with the controller that you can play.
Okay, but also, I mean, like $40 for a controller, that's pretty close to what you're paying for an additional controller on your Xbox or PS3, PS4, right?
Yeah, but again, this is not a PS3 or a PS4. This is an Ouya, right?
Yeah.
This is an Android box, and gaming is a sideline for this thing. I mean, it is a video streaming box, but Amazon, I think, is betting on gaming being the thing that differentiates it. And I'm not sure it does enough with video gaming to bring in that side of things. I'm not sure that people are going to look at this like they looked at the Wii and say, I'm not a hardcore gamer. I don't need an Xbox, but I can play with this. This is going to be fun. They're all Android-based games, and they're the ones available from Amazon, and there's some good ones. They've got some big names on board for the gaming side of things.
Well, okay. I mean, we're talking about like what, Minecraft and basically Angry Birds.
They've
right?
got some EA stuff in there. They've got some titles that are adapted, but yeah, it's not. There's some first-person sword and sorcery type stuff. But again, and this is Cordkillers, not video gaming. And I think that the main thing people thinking about with the Fire TV is the television side of it.
Certainly.
So that is all Amazon based. This is the frustrating thing. When I do a voice search, it doesn't come up with the non-Amazon stuff. I thought it did at first. I got tricked. And Scott Johnson and I are still trying to figure out, we thought we saw something where it gave us a Netflix result, but apparently it didn't. Because one thing it does is you say House of Cards, it shows you House of Cards. Season 1, available for purchase from Amazon. It doesn't show you Netflix, even though Netflix is an app on my box.
So a couple of things on this. First of all, and I do think the video game controller is important because the worst thing you can do in this marketplace is to end up in the mushy middle. We've seen it with the Ouya. The Ouya didn't differentiate itself. It ended up being like a crappier version of an Android gaming device that happened to be on your television, and that's why it seems to have largely languished in the middle mush. That's what they should not do with this Amazon device. And the fact that, number one, I applaud they're having a controller that's unique to their system. That's great. But unfortunately, what they do is they land it squarely in the mushy middle. If you want to play good video games and you have $400, you buy yourself an Xbox One, you buy yourself a PS4. If you have $100, then at least buy a Wii or something that distinguishes itself. Like, don't buy a crappy or $150, gaming console that's got like virtually no games on it. I don't know. That disappoints me. To me, what they should have done is they should have kept it at $99. They should have kept it subsidized, and they should have kept the gaming-like controller in it. If what they wanted to do was sell video games, make it an extraordinary value the way the Chromecast is an extraordinary value right now at $35. This one's at $99 and does something that no other $99 device would do, which is give you a game controller. Having said all that, you are correct. It is all about the video. It is all about the devices. And I of course, am less qualified to speak on this because I haven't gotten hands-on with it compared to you. But everything I'm hearing sounds to me like, number one, what I would expect from a corporation. Number two, it sounds like the worst possible thing for consumers. It sounds like what they're doing is pleasing the shareholders, saying like, oh, we're creating an environment for our own people. They'll stay in our own ecosystem. We'll sell so much amazing Amazon crap. It'll be awesome. We'll be just like Apple. And by Apple, we mean, that relatively unsuccessful Apple TV that is stagnated, that they refuse to even claim credit for having created.
Yeah, I don't know that it's for the shareholders, because frankly, Jeff Bezos often bucks his shareholders. He's famous for not having profits and saying, sorry, shareholders, you want to buy something else? Go ahead.
Yeah.
I think it is for Amazon, though, to say like, yeah, what we want to do is sell a bunch of Amazon stuff, give people in the Amazon ecosystem so that they buy more Amazon stuff and they buy Kindles and all of that. And that's where I think the fact that they came out in their announcement and said a lot of stuff about what everyone wants is the box that just lets you say, I want to watch this, and we tell you how to watch it. And that's what we've done is hypocrisy.
Disingenuous.
It's a bait and switch. Because yes, I can say I want to watch this, but it will only give me results from Amazon. I didn't even want to believe it the first day I had the box, but it's true. And all of the side menu items that say movies, TV shows are all Amazon except for the apps menu. When you go to the apps menu, then you get Netflix and Hulu and Plex and Crackle. I mean, they have actually, I may be wrong about Crackle, but they have Plex and they have a pretty good app ecosystem at launch. They're going to get a bunch more apps. Oddly, they don't have the Amazon Music app yet. That's coming next month, but they do have Pandora. So that kind of gives the lie to them being entirely self-interested. But they're going to get it. And the interface obviously is meant to encourage you to use the Amazon ecosystem to watch things.
Well, unfortunately, Tom, the Kindle Fire TV setup is the only setup on your computer or your desktop, and there's no other objects that will remotely approach that space.
Right. I mean, sure, you can get an Apple TV, and I actually might argue that Roku 3 could be a better buy right now just because it's not shoving you into the Amazon space. But the Amazon box, really rapid, really fast, works really well, and it has the voice search. It's a close call. Thankfully, there isn't anything else like the Fire TV on the horizon. So let's just move on to our secondary target, which is Android TV, as reported by Sean Hollister from The Verge. We had him on the Daily Tech News Show. They found some internal promotional slides promoting a new version. This is not Google TV. This is what they transitioned out of Google TV to become Android TV. It's an entertainment interface, not a computing platform. It's used the controller's arrow keys, enter, home, and back. There would be an optional game controller. It would have voice input.
And this sounds really familiar. This
picks up
sounds
with a
an
phone or
awful
TV
lot.
left off. Recommends content on a home screen that sort of steers you into the Google Play.
I feel like we've heard all of this before. It's just so
far as I can tell, Brian,
familiar.
What this looks like, and even though this is an unofficial leak, is somebody took the Amazon Fire TV slides and then wrote Google instead of
okay, well, first of all, let's dial back to this. First of all, let's go back to the whole issue why Google TV. I don't want to say it failed, because there are people who are going to get offended and write us letters and say like Google TV
because
didn't
there
fail.
are still devices being sold with Google TV.
That's
that
correct.
People buy. So yes.
But let's face it, Google TV as a platform has not caught fire, so to speak, with the consumer base, right? It's not what everyone wants to do.
Stop trying to tar Google with the fact their devices have not caused any fires or burned down. No. Okay. Google TV is not considered a success. And even if you really want it to be and you're like, no, it should be, it isn't.
Yes. Okay. And so what is the difference with Android TV? And by the way, how many words does Google have left in their vocabulary to use instead of the ones they've already burned? They already burned the Google TV. They already burned Android. They've already burned Chrome. How many words are left?
Well, and that's the odd thing, right? I think we all look at Chromecast and think, oh, well, there you go. That's your next step after Google TV, and a smart one, because it's much different. You can make the case that any app can have it. They don't have to change their interface, and it's so much better. If this turns out to be a real product, maybe we hear about it at Google I/O in June. It's them doing Chrome OS and Android again, right? Because Chrome OS is here's a cloud-based operating system for your tablet and laptop, and Android is here's a cloud-based operating system for your phone and tablet. They sort of meet over there. This would be Android TV is for your set-top box. This is the thing you plug into your computer. You don't need any other devices, and it's going to be able to stream a bunch of apps. And Chromecast is this is the companion for your phone, for your tablet, because you control it from there.
I would hate to say it, Tom, but it's like I hinted that maybe the Fire TV was a mushy middle device. I will full on state unequivocally this is a mushy middle device. Like Google owns the low-end, low-cost, high-performance space. Everybody absolutely adores the Chromecast. They adore the fact that Google has taken a hack all you want, make whatever you want, open API. We'll try to approve whatever we can get away with approving stuff. This thing is cheap and amazing and does exactly what it's supposed to do and nothing more. Then I look at this, it's another, it's a very crowded market space at that $99 price point. They're late to the game. They're coming in after a failure with the Google TV. And I don't mean failure like they lost money. I mean like it didn't catch fire and become the next big thing. I think this is a mistake. I think they should be focused on the fringes where they've already shown massive, massive success.
Well, I think sometimes we tend to over-anthropomorphize companies, especially when we're the Supreme Court, but even when we're hosts of Cordkillers, because they have enough people to focus on both. And if they could solve the set-top box problem, right, and still sell Chromecast, huge win for Google. We have the entire market, right? We have something for people who want this, and we have something for people who want that. I think that the hope here, for me, is that if Android TV turns out to be what this leak looks like, and if Android TV is sold by Google, that it delivers on the promise of cross-platform search. If they try to push Google Play content in front of you, or if they do what the Fire TV does, and it's like your voice search just doesn't cross any of the other apps.
That's a problem.
That's a big problem. Now, some of the things I've read say the problem with Amazon Fire TV search has to do with the apps. The apps need to hook into the Amazon thing, and eventually that might happen.
I don't know. That's look. Somebody somewhere made a decision at some point, and
well, if what I read is true, then we'll see apps start to hook into that and show up, and Amazon just didn't get the apps updated in time. If that's not true, then you're right. Somebody made a decision. But if Google were to come out with a device, because I actually really like the Fire TV interface, I like the fast way it works. If Google comes out with a device and they're like, actually, all the Fire TV was Android TV with an Amazon interface slapped on top. Here's an open system that lets you watch whatever you want. Google Play, great. We have the Amazon Video Store too, and Netflix. The only thing they won't have is Apple, because Apple doesn't let anybody else have their stuff, in which case that could be really compelling.
Yes. Okay, all those things make sense and are right. However, I just hate seeing, and I understand this is a big part of the way Google as an operation runs, is they split everything into different teams, and teams work independently. And I know that the team that made the Chromecast is not the team that's making Android TV or whatever. However, at the end of the day, they are branding it as a Google experience, and essentially they're competing with themselves. And very rarely, like look at the train wreck that Sony has experienced over the last 15 years as different divisions of Sony. In the late 90s, you had Sony developing an MP3 player while another part of Sony developed lawsuits against MP3 players. It was ridiculous. And I feel like this is kind of what we're seeing here with Google. And to me, when you look at the Chromecast, you have an unmitigated success. You have something that resonates, that everybody likes, and they all jump on board with. Android TV, the only thing I see different from Google TV is that you can't search BitTorrent on it. And I don't understand why this is going to catch fire with consumers.
If it's able to deliver everything that you want, right? Well, that's what we want. Everything that's available. Obviously, they're dependent on the services, and that's part of any of these devices' problems. But if it's plug it in, say, I want to watch this, and it'll tell you where to watch it no matter where it's hosted, I still think that's pretty compelling.
I mean, again, like I agree with you, but I don't believe they're going to do it. I think they're going to do what everybody else does. I mean, that's the thing.
I think they're going to shove people into the Google Play Store as well. Yeah. So I can't disagree with you there. I'm just hoping.
I mean, I'm with you, man. What if there was one device for your desktop and it cost twice as much as all of these, and it was called Honest, and it actually gave you all the options plus the option, if you'd like to break the law, here's how you do it. Actually give you the entire.
I was about to say it's called the Roku 3 because that's Roku's advantage is they don't have a dog in the game, right?
Right.
Or in the hunt or whatever it is, but they don't nobody can sell a device that says if you'd like to break the law, press here, because that's against the law, and they will be
I mean, you say nobody you say nobody can sell that device, but meanwhile every computer manufacturer has been selling that device for 15, 20 years.
Every computer manufacturer has not been selling a device that says if you'd like to break the law, click here. That's called inducement.
Okay,
that's what gets you. That's what gets you in trouble.
All right, fair enough. But you understand what I'm saying. Like there's a we want to know. You know what? I'm going to get in bad territory here. I'm going to stop talking. So.
I think leaving the illegalities out of it, you're right. Like you want the device that says here's everything, and Roku is that, because you can sideload devices on the Roku as well. And get things that aren't officially available in the Roku App Store. So in that respect, Roku still has the lead. And the Roku 3 performance is just as good. They just don't have the voice search, but they have the cross search. So, man, come on, Roku, give me some voice search.
So, now, do you honestly find yourself using voice search a lot? Because I often find myself very much in the minority when I tell people how much I use Siri. Like at this point.
Oh, yeah. I never use it on the phone. I never use voice search on any tablet.
Really?
I use it on Fire TV.
What's funny?
The thing.
I use it so much on the phone. I don't even if there is a telephone number that's in front of me on the screen, I don't bother to copy it down and punch it in. I just read it off the screen and punch it in.
I prefer to type because I don't want to speak out loud and bother other people. I don't want people to hear what I'm typing. And I just find it faster more often, not always, but often. Whereas Fire TV, I want to watch The Shield. It's not a problem for me to go The Shield. Like, I don't care if people hear that. I'm about to make noise anyway by watching TV.
See, maybe I find myself in private more often than you, because like I'm out on my bike riding. I'm like, call Bonnie Brushwood, mobile, and they're like, call Bonnie Brushwood at home, no, mobile, and it's like I don't even care because it's like there's nobody to bother around me.
Right. Hey, you know who I never want to bother? I just want to thank is our patrons.
I'm sorry, patrons. We have patrons.
Yeah, we actually have a group shrouded in mystery from the beginnings of time, who totally on their own initiative provide the funding that makes the show possible.
Now hold on. I heard about our show. Our show is like paid for by corporate shills, and we're trapped under the thumb of the man. We have to give out their message, and that they are our corporate overlords. Is that not the case anymore?
No, I think you might be thinking of a different show.
Huh.
That's not our show.
Oh, what's our show like?
Our show has 1,689 people who said, you know what? I want this show to continue, and I get some value out of it, so I'm going to give a little value back. And then they pledged a little money per episode for us to do the show.
Well, you realize if this is true, and I'm not saying it is, but if what you say is true,
it is true.
That would give us the freedom to give them the straight dope, that we could talk honestly about how we truly feel about devices and services and everything possible without any of them putting their under their thumb.
It's them owning a piece of the show.
Right on. Well, I'll tell you what. If what you say is true, then I thank all of those people, and we can't believe that you made our dreams
You run the Patreon page yourself.
Okay, all right, look, it's called a bit. Let's just move on to our next segment.
I was that committed.
That's too committed to the bit, Tom.
There's something called too committed to signals intelligence. That's when you talk about the WWE. Sunday's WrestleMania 30 took place in New Orleans, selling out the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, and it was a big test of WWE Online, which, as you may remember, we said gives you access to this normally expensive pay-per-view event for $10 a month. World Wrestling Entertainment said we need 1 million subscribers to break even. Everyone was expecting them to come out and say we've hit 1 million subscribers. And they came out and said, if you round up, we've hit 1 million subscribers, because we got 667,287.
All right. Now, hold on. I've seen conflicting numbers on all this. I've seen some numbers that say that they had to hit 800,000 in order to break even, that they needed to do 1 million if they want to offset the loss of the pay-per-view revenues, because those people are
and
able
I've
to get
seen
it for free.
They really only need 400,000 to break even. Yeah, it's kind of all over the place.
Right. So what's your gut tell you about this? I've seen both articles saying, hooray, massive success, or boo, massive failure.
Yeah, in fact, I think both links that I've got in here on both sides. The Business Week headline is WWE smacked down as online subscribers fall short of estimate. And Variety has the headline, Profit in Sight. Nearly 670,000 subscribed to WWE Network. It's actually more than 667,000 by now. But yeah, the stock market shares sank, but all the analysts said, I don't know why people are selling this. My target's remaining buy. So opinions are divisive, which means it's right there in the middle, in my opinion. Like, they've got enough that you can't call this a failure. They're like, yeah, okay, they're doing it, but they don't have so many that you're like, unquestionably a success. They're doing fine. Is the way I would call it.
Keep in mind that that fortune favors the bold in the early days of these kind of decisions. And my guess is this was not a cut and dry decision. If it was if it was obvious that they should go virtual, that they should go over the top, then you and I probably wouldn't have a show called Cordkillers about this middle space about
It would just be called Watching Things.
Yes,
which is actually what we're thinking of changing the name of the show.
That's right. I'm looking forward to Watching Things next week with Brian and Tom. So in this case, like, they obviously made a bold decision. I would imagine that it is to be expected that you would have a lot of loss because there's a number of consumers who are not comfortable with shifting from their normal viewing habits. But the mere fact that they are at the forefront is why they made it into a story on the show. And I would say that, $10 a month, we're looking at 700,000 subscribers, $10 a month. That's $7 million a month for this brand new market they just opened up for themselves year round. And that's one thing, by the way, unrelated to our Patreons. Once somebody subscribes for a thing, they tend to stick with it. Can I just say again how much we love our patrons at Cordkillers?
Yes, please don't leave. The WWE Network is close to turning a profit. That's according to Variety. So there you go. Company will roll out to Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Hong Kong, and the Nordic countries in late 2014 and early 2015. So if you're like, hey, US people, when do I get my wrestling entertainment? That's when for those parts of the country. Shall we gear up?
Yeah, dang right we should gear up.
Because we're about to go to battle.
Look at that. I'm wearing my glasses. That's my gear. Allows me to see straight.
Oh, yeah. Now we're talking. Xbox One is the piece of gear we're talking about today. Fire TV as well. But for Gear Up, we're talking about the Xbox One because Microsoft is doing something that you may say, well, yeah, Netflix is doing that. Except Microsoft is doing it on their own hardware, and that's bringing original programming. They announced 6 series coming to the Xbox One. In production right now, as we've mentioned before, is Halo television series, executive produced by Steven Spielberg, a multi-film documentary series produced by Simon Shin and Jonathan Shin of Lightbox, centering on the rise and fall of Atari. We've mentioned that one before as well. Live event coverage from Bonnaroo Music Festival coming in June 2014. An unscripted reality series about street soccer called Every Street United, scheduled to launch around the time of the World Cup. A Halo digital feature with 343 Industries and Scott Free Productions. That's executive produced by Ridley Scott and going to be directed by Sergio Mimica Gazan of Battlestar Galactica fame. That's not a crossover with the Spielberg series, by the way. It's Halo, but it's separate. And then a sci-fi show about robots called Humans, based on the Swedish program called Octa Maniskor. Apologies to those of you like Brecky who speak Swedish. They've also got a bunch of stuff in development with comedians, stop-motion animation with Seth Green, and an unscripted series about Australian Navy bomb clearance diver. So these are all, they say, we haven't decided exactly how we're going to distribute all of these, but they're all meant to go to the Xbox One because they're all going to include interactive features, minigames, and subplots that you activate from your controller.
All right, so here's what's weird, is on the one hand, I absolutely applaud them doing this. On the other hand, I think it's a bogus Trojan horse when they say that, like, oh, interactive, you decide, select the whatever or whatever. That's the same crap we heard in the late 90s when you could go to crappy movies and you could control Matt Frewer, a.k.a. Max Headroom, through his 15-minute adventure beforehand. That's a smokescreen. Ignore all of that. Here's what they're doing that's brilliant and right. Fringe, 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 fringe. Every single story you mentioned will appeal to a very small segment of the base, but to that segment, It will be extraordinarily awesome. They will be super passionate, super excited to jump in. This is the right play when you are David against a Goliath. And it's weird to think of Microsoft being David versus, television's Goliath, but that's exactly what they are in the world of video. In this regard, they're doing smart. They are appealing to very small bases, making them extraordinarily passionate about little projects.
Although I would argue that Halo is the one exception to that. Halo is saying we're going right to the meaty center of the people who have the Xbox One. Not of mass media, but they're saying everybody who likes an Xbox One probably interested in Halo, with a few exceptions, right?
I mean,
'Cause
first
it's
of
our
all,
biggest
yes.
seller.
Xbox One is the island of misfit toys of people who really love the Halo franchise. But again, compared to anything else in there, there's a reason the Halo movie stalled and died and went nowhere, because it couldn't make it in the marketplace of the rest of the world. So instead, they're taking it back home and they're focusing on their base, and that is a smart decision.
Now, do you think it's a smart decision? Well, it's actually not the same question. Do you think it's a problem? Do you think people will react negatively to the fact like, okay, so I have to have an Xbox One and probably pay for Xbox Live to be able to watch a lot of this stuff?
Nope. It doesn't matter, because the base already has an Xbox One and already is paying for Live.
The base for Halo does. Does the base for every Street United, does the street soccer crowd do that?
No. Okay, again, you're approaching this the wrong direction. They're not trying to court the general masses of football enthusiasts. I'm using the international term to court them to buy an Xbox. They are justifying to people who are already in the Xbox ecosystem for why they're awesome for these exclusives.
All right,
Netflix,
so I'll buy Halo is for people who play Halo, and I'll actually buy that. Every Street United is for people who play FIFA, right?
Yep,
makes sense. That's a very popular game. What is the multi-film documentary series for? With the Rise and Fall of Atari.
Again,
okay.
No, yep. I have an answer for that. The answer is, again, their goal is to not court people into their ecosystem. Their goal is to galvanize the people who are already in the ecosystem. If you're somebody who buys an Xbox One, my guess is you were part of the Atari generation, or your dad was part of the Atari generation. And in that regard, seeing like a top quality documentary making you feel awesome for your heritage, that's exactly what they should be doing.
All right, let's go through the rest of these real quick. Show about robots called humans.
Yes,
okay,
of course,
yeah,
duh.
Unscripted series starring Paul de Gelder as an Australian Navy bomb clearance diver and shark attack survivor.
Okay, look, you lost me until you said shark attack, and then I'm back on board. All right,
and that's just like first-person shooter people who love.
Well, whatever. Look,
stuff.
You got to fill out your roster at some point, and if you're
a
going to fill out your
comedy
roster,
show with Jash featuring, which is founded by Sarah Silverman, Michael Cera, Tim and Eric, and Reggie Watts.
You certainly said a lot of names who are big legends in comedy. Let's go to the next one.
So that's all it takes? Okay. And then Seth Green, Stupid Buddy Studios, creators of Robot Chicken.
All right. Tell me there's not a greater crossover between Robot Chicken and Xbox.
All right. I
Come
can
on.
sort of see it.
Play to the base. You play to the base. You get them excited.
Is this a bad trend then to say, that's great, we're going to have networks that are so niche that you have to be a fan of the box? Or does it matter? Like, well, if you're a fan of the box, you're going to buy the box anyway. So
dude, I'll tell you what, you and I are betting on that circumstance, right? We're live right now at diamondclub.tv. We are a micro niche of people who feel like they enjoy these 5 internet personalities, and we want to bring content that appeals to them. We're in the middle of playing the exact same game that they're playing. We're playing to our base.
You can get our thing anywhere, right?
You can.
Whereas this, you can if you're only going to be able to get some of this stuff on the Xbox, don't you find that a bad trend to be like, in the future, you won't be able to watch everything you want where you want because you'll have to buy an Xbox One?
I'll tell you what. Yes, you can get our stuff anywhere. You can only get the live experience in one place, and that's right now as we record it at diamondclub.tv.
Yeah, you can only get the live experience while we're doing it live. I'm not sure that speaks to my point.
My point is essentially what we're doing is we're windowing our live experience to our audience, to our fans, to people who like, and there's crossover. There's some people who are Tom Merritt's fans.
But we don't say, but you have to buy this particular machine to watch it. That's what Microsoft is doing.
No, I don't even know. I don't know that that's the sales pitch. Again, we're approaching it from opposite sides. You're saying that here's the content. Better buy an Xbox if you want to watch it. I'm saying it's the reverse. It's like, what?
But I'm
you
saying
got an Xbox?
As a consumer, if I don't want, sure, if I want to buy the Xbox, then I have no problem. But as a consumer, if I'm like, wow, I really would like to watch this show, but I can't unless I buy this $500 box.
Yeah, nobody's going to do that, though. Nobody's thinking that. This is not an inducement to buy a $500 box. This is a after-the-fact reward. This is a cultural kind of like, hey, man, you're awesome.
You're telling people how they should think about it, and I'm telling you people won't all think that way about it.
What are you talking? I'm saying what Xbox's motivation is. Their motivation is not to tell you to buy a box.
I'm not even talking about us. I understand Microsoft's motivation. I'm just wondering if the audience is going to backlash against it.
Why on earth would they backlash? What's the backlash against? I'm
Microsoft's
sorry. I hate
garden.
the fact that you're giving me all this original content.
No, because I don't own an Xbox, right? I'm the audience that's like, boo, Microsoft. Get walled garden and keeping all your stuff behind a wall. Screw you, trying to take good content, free the content.
No, okay, that's just it. This is their whole play. Their whole play is like, what's up, bro? Can't hear you over the party we're having over here. Who loves this awesome content?
Don't buy an Xbox, people, because Microsoft locks people in.
What are you talking about?
I'm telling you what the internet says. You know this.
No, okay, first of all, I don't believe the internet actually says this. I don't think this is a case at all. I think that this is, if there's a crime here, it's exactly the same crime of Netflix creating amazing content with House of Cards and
Netflix
Orange
is available anywhere I want. Netflix particularly is available on almost every platform I could think of.
Okay, but again, man,
here's Microsoft, the evil Microsoft is trying to trick me into spending $500 to watch their stuff.
All right. Let me flip it on the other side. You're telling me, in order for your scenario to make sense, you're telling me that there's even one person out there with a PS4 who reads this article and is sitting there saying like, ooh, that Microsoft, why won't they let me see this content? Why are you keeping it for yourself? Oh, Microsoft.
You're telling me there's not more
I
than
guarantee.
one
Oh,
person?
come on, dude. You really do? You think there's someone out there who's like, oh, you're having your party. Why aren't I invited? Why can't you make it available on the PS4?
I think there's a lot of people like that.
No way. No way. This is tribalism. This is rewarding your base. They're making exclusives for their own crowd.
All right. I'm thinking that's what the internet is built on, is people doing that. But
they've already made a straw poll, by the way. strawpoll.me/1457373. Who's right?
Oh, but it's just there isn't a right or wrong. This is why I don't like this kind of approach. Is like,
by the way,
you have very good points, but I'm saying, yeah, but what about these other people, and vice versa? Everything I'm saying isn't right either. I'm just saying I bet people will do this, but I don't. Maybe I'm wrong about the effect. Maybe it'll be minimal and not matter.
As I read it right now, it's 100% Tom, 0% Brian.
Was there like 2 people voted probably? Right?
No, let's see. We're up to like almost 20 votes now, and it's 82 to 22. So whatever, that's fine. I could be totally wrong on this, but again, I don't see this as a bad play for Microsoft. Play to your base, make them feel good for being part of your clubhouse.
In all honesty, pulling it back a little, I don't think it's a bad play for Microsoft, but I do think. And I think they're already telegraphing this because they said we haven't decided all the distribution methods. They win it all if they make it available, even if it's after the fact. Like, you can also buy it, elsewhere, or you can get it from the Windows Store. Just play to that a little bit, because it really is the attitude out there.
All right, fair enough. Hey, man, you want to thank the folks who make the hardware possible behind our show?
You mean the bare metal that this show runs on? Yeah, I do.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, you and we had a contest once, and it turns out we were extraordinarily bad at remembering ones and zeros long enough to transport them from one side of the room to the other. Luckily, we've outsourced all of that to our friends over at doghousesystems.com, where you can get the Armor Series PCs, which we're running 2 of them right now to bring you this fabulous entertainment right now to you. They're in the middle of developing a couch system, an over-the-top system of your own, the ultimate media PC. If you just type in Cordkillers Doghouse Systems, it'll take you straight over to the Google Plus section where you can actually make your own wish. They're going to make it come true for you. And in the meantime, if you want to buy yourself a new desktop PC, first of all, these are easily the best systems I've ever dealt with. The folks over at Doghouse Systems are amazing. Their service is amazing. And if you use promo code Cordkillers when you check out, you'll get double your memory free. And more importantly, you'll do a little wink. You'll do a little like, wink. thanks for supporting the Cordkillers. But you have to talk in that falsetto.
Yeah, you could probably do it without, but it's better if you do.
I mean, for us, I say we move straight into whatever is next.
Under
What's under
surveillance?
surveillance?
All about location.
Under surveillance.
Yeah, so yesterday HBO Go crashed like Hindenburg. Too soon? I don't know. Anyway, during the Game of Thrones season premiere, overwhelming demand. People were starting their conspiracy theories. It's net neutrality violation. No. It's HBO purposely allowing everything to get overwhelmed because they know everybody's borrowing their parents' login information, and they want to punish those non-paying users. CEO Richard Pepler has actually denied that part of it. However, you were having a problem watching Game of Thrones on HBO Go last night. You did have a chance to watch Mike Judge's Silicon Valley on YouTube, though, which I thought was an interesting move for HBO. They didn't put Game of Thrones on YouTube, of course, but they did say, oh, for those of you without HBO Go, here, watch the first episode on this freely open platform.
Okay, well, first of all, going in reverse order, I'm going to guarantee you that this was not a last-minute decision to appease HBO Go users. This was decided way in advance that they were going to release Silicon Valley for free. Second of all, HBO Go, HBO in general, has enjoyed both sides of the coin. They've been able to say they've enjoyed.
They've
all
seen
of
the
the
world
money.
from both sides now.
That's correct. They have enjoyed the benefits of being a darling child of the cable industry, and they've also enjoyed the notoriety of being the most pirated, high-quality content, and they've enjoyed being able to say, hey, by the way, HBO Go is awesome. Also, we don't care that you're using your parents' passwords or whatever. This is the moment when the bill came due. When the pressure was on them, they didn't treat this like a major release on HBO Go. This was, to them, a major release on cable, and it is a secondary factor whether or not HBO Go could handle the push on all this. This is the moment when they were left holding the bag, and they're like, oh, crap, if we're going to trade on how popular we are, how good our content is, and how popular our HBO Go service is, I guess we should have a reputation for bothering to have it running when it matters most, ? And I think we're about to see the beginning of a shift in their strategy, either to clamp down on HBO Go passwords or to clamp down or to double down on their reputation for delivering high-quality content.
If I'm an HBO sysadmin, I was tearing my hair out yesterday.
Yeah.
Trying to make sure these servers worked. I do not believe for a second that they were intentionally degrading the stream.
No, I don't believe that either.
I really don't. I also know some people who used to work at HBO Digital back in the day, and there are plenty of reasons why this would happen that don't involve any kind of conspiracy theory, right? On the other hand, I do think that HBO's strategy right now is, yeah, the digital side of thing is there as a bonus. It's a perk. And the fact that it went down, we would like that to not happen because it's bad press and nobody likes bad press, but it's not something we're going to pour every available asset into to fix until we get it fixed. Now, this is where I agree with you, Brian. I think once they have this happen and the story becomes, hey, HBO Go didn't go down during the Game of Thrones finale last night or the premiere or whatever, the True Detective, whatever the next big thing is, that's when HBO sits down and goes, okay, it seems as if our streaming servers can now handle the overload. Is it time to start pressing for a digital-only subscription?
I don't know that there'll ever be that time. Like, the benefit is too great for them to stay in bed with the cable companies, right?
Yeah, for now. But I think that benefit declines over time, and I think HBO knows that.
I mean, I hope that's the case. But in this case, I certainly agree with you that there is no conspiracy. There is no, there's no benefit to HBO dropping the ball on this. The reason they dropped the ball was not because of conspiracy, not because of wanting to teach a lesson or any of that crap. It was quite simply because there was no profit motive. If you're HBO, why would you spend thousands of dollars out of nowhere in order to make sure that you're prepared for this onslaught, especially given the fact that HBO Go is a benefit that is offered free because they're generous, like King Baratheon.
Yeah.
Joffrey Baratheon, yeah.
Right. He's the king.
Yeah.
Or as Sharpie says, HBO Go. How about HBO No?
Psych.
But I think I would look on this as free beta testing of my streaming service if I were HBO. Yeah, that's why they'd be like, oh, we don't really care if you log in with the parents and friends addresses.
I guarantee that's exactly what they're doing. They have the benefit of first of all, they're not dumb. They know which way the wind's headed. They're getting ready for it. They also, because they have the benefit of taking their time, they're going to take their time. And
they know which way the winds are headed. Winter is coming. And so is the Frontlines segment.
Huzzah!
Frontlines!
This is where we give ourselves 60 seconds per topic to talk about some other things in the news, just so we can squeeze in a few more topics for you. Norm Gregory submitted the first one on our subreddit. Yahoo CEO Marissa Mayer seeking to produce a, quote, hit online show with viral appeal. According to the Wall Street Journal, Yahoo's interested in a series that consists of 10 half-hour-long comedies with per-episode budgets from $700,000 to $1 million per episode. Company is close to making orders for 4 original web series ahead of Yahoo's April 28th New Front, where they sell a bunch of ads.
Oh, man, what a coincidence. I think it's time that we finally announced our plans, Tom, to create a worldwide smash #1 hit comedy series consisting of 12 episodes, 30 minutes long, starting sometime next year. That is our
we put
plan.
in an order, and if you would like to give us $1 million per episode, please call this number.
Yeah, it is our plan that this should redefine the entire comedy landscape. It should change the way you see the world. It'll be a show a little bit about something, a little bit about nothing, sort of The Simpsons meets Seinfeld.
The only difference is we're telling you instead of just leaking it to the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, that's how much we love you. Hey, man, also AOL is doing this. AOL said Tuesday that it plans to produce its first long-form video series, Connected, a U.S. adaptation of the Israeli series Connected. The company said it's a documentary series about 5 disconnected New Yorkers as they explore the concept of a family, see their stories intertwine. AOL said the original version of Connected is one of Israel's highest-rated cable TV series ever.
How about that? You know what? They worked. Lilyhammer, that kind of worked. House of Cards, that kind of worked. Why don't we take a hit show that's somewhere else in the world? What can we get?
Hang on.
So you know what? Actually, though, lifestyle series in AOL seems to make sense in my head.
All right, now our producer Zach, I saw him grab the microphone and pull over here. What do you got for us, Zach?
It's a surprise. Keep going.
Oh, keep going. He's getting ready to get ready. I mean, there's a reason that it's a winning play and that everybody keeps doing it. And by all means, look, as long as more good stories get out to good people.
Next story.
Oh, wow.
The QPlay app is now available to anyone who wants it, as is the $49 QPlay box that streams your QPlay videos to a connected TV. QPlay also introduced a new video content from media curators at Vanity Fair, Reddit, news sources like College Humor, Funny or Die, and the New York Times. QPlay queues up streams of videos so you can just lean back and watch, kind of like the Pluto.tv thing that we talked about. They have curators. You can watch your friends' cues, or you can watch the people they pay, or you can make your own.
Okay, good ideas and bad ideas. Good ideas, your friends' cues, absolutely. Personality curators, absolutely. Trust it to an algorithm? No. I think it's a terrible idea. Like, I understand that theoretically there might be a Pandora for watching viral videos of people getting kicked in the nuts, but I don't believe it. I want to see your Ray William Johnstons or whoever's, you know.
Is it an algorithm? I thought they hired people to make it.
I'm sure they do, but if they do have people, I want personalities. I want their faces on there. There you go. Nicely done. Hey man, Hulu is going to add past seasons of NBC Universal produced shows as part of a multi-year agreement between the two companies announced Wednesday. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Mindy Project, as well as Bravo's Top Chef and E's Keeping Up with the Kardashians. The announcement came a few days after Hulu named former Warner Horizon television programming director, executive Craig Erwich to head up its content division. Look, how many of these things are you excited about, Tom?
Well, you know what? I think it's funny that we got a lot of headlines saying Hulu's trying to do the binge thing like Netflix. When they did this with CBS a long time ago. It's just that the conditions on the ground have changed, that we now look at this as binging rather than like, oh, they're finally filling in a back catalog. But it is Hulu being a little more like Amazon Prime and Netflix.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. All right, look, let's move on to the next one.
The Bravo typo there was from multichannelnews.com, not from me this time.
Take that, jerks. I yield my time to the floor.
The Real Tricky submitted this on our cordkillers.subreddit.com site. DSLreports.com user Darknessfall points out in the forums that AT&T's new HBO bundle promotion provides UBasic TV with HBO as an 18 megabit per second AT&T Uverse connection for $40. Good for 12 months, although you have to pay $150 in installation charges. But another company doing one of these like hey, cord cutters, we'll give you just like a really basic service for cheap and you'll get HBO so you can have your own HBO Go login. That won't work.
I'll tell you what, there's only one situation where this kind of move makes sense, and that's if you don't believe in what you're selling in the long term. Like if all you care about is keeping those subscribers for the next, 6 to 12 months, and you know that something brand new is going to come around in 2015, that's when you start doing BS deals like these.
Or you're hoping to upsell them at the end of the 12 months.
Yeah, okay, nobody believes that. That's not going to happen. That's good TikToking. All right, CNET has an interview with Michael Franco, the creator of Star Trek Continues. We mentioned this a year ago here on, it says From Arate. I'm not familiar with that show. But when they released their first episode, Pilgrim of Eternity, they followed recently with Lolani starring Lou Ferrigno. The most recent episode is currently in post-production and will premiere in June at Australia's Supernova Pop Culture Festival.
This is the one with Grant Imahara as Sulu, if you remember.
He's great, man. He's great.
It's amazing. I'm so jealous of him that he gets to play Sulu, and it's really well done. There's the New Voyages is great too, but Star Trek Continues. The one that you were talking about, Pilgrim of Eternity, followed on Who Mourns for Adonis from the original series. They got Lou Ferrigno in their last episode. These are smooth, so I wish they could get them out faster. But if you're looking for good original web native content based in a classic universe to boot and done legally, they have permission.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to take a half extension just to say real quick, like I showed one of these. I want to say it's the one that had Grand Imahara in there. I showed it to my daughter who's 10 years old and who had never seen the original Star Trek series, had maybe seen half of a few of the Next Generation. And it was amazing to watch her get sucked into this old school style narrative, old school science fiction. Like it was like watching myself 30 years ago. It was amazing.
That's amazing. That's such a good control test.
Yeah, right? It's like if it's good, it's good. And she's into it, right?
Check it out. Let's move on to the Summer Diamond Club movie draft.
Yeah! Oh,
ladies and gentlemen, I'm in first place.
Oh my God! Enjoy it while you still can, sir. I'm going over to draft.diamondclub.tv. I'm going to look at it with my own two eyes right here.
They had 96 million for Captain America: The Winter Soldier, but it got revised down to 95 million. It's like the employment numbers. They went back and
they revised it. They told the truth eventually. Now, how are you feeling? First of all, you paid what was it? 43 virtual dollars, 43 merit marks for this, which we thought was low at the time. But now I'm looking at it. If the opening weekend is 100 million, I don't think you're looking at more than like 250 for the entire run. Is that right?
Yeah, that's about right. And then we were banking on 200. So they're talking about this getting 250 over the run. That would be good. The next thing that I have is X-Men Days of Future Past. I need that to hit 300. And then I need my other two lesser costly films to overperform as well. But that was true all the way. So this is definitely doing at or a little better than I expected and needed. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, I think you are in a really good position. You still have...
here's what's going to happen this week. God's Money Bags has Rio 2 coming out, and the Morning Stream has Draft Day coming out. And Rio 2 is going to do really well, I have a feeling.
Yeah, and God's Money Bags, that team, they certainly Father Robert Balasar has made his bones on kids' movies, which I think is a smart move to do. Although he bought Transcendence, which I think is ridiculous. But he also has How to Train Your Dragon 2. So really, if Rio 2 is a surprise winner, really all he needs is for How to Train Your Dragon 2 to also be another surprise. And then he's a contender for the big win.
Yeah. Shall we move on to what's on screen?
Yeah! Sorry, I just got wounded.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I healed.
So I didn't see your note in the doc here until this morning when it was too late for me to act on it, but I'm very excited that the Regular Show Season 2 is on Netflix.
Oh my God, not just Regular Show Season 2, but also Adventure Time Season 2. And of course, as always happens, it's my kids that find this out. I walked out and I'm like, hey, I haven't seen this episode of Adventure Time. They're like, yeah, I know, it's just showed up on Netflix. And I was like, oh, yeah, you want to look at Regular Show? And then before I know it, I'm sitting there watching Regular Show. And I love Regular Show so very much. If you have kids, here's the thing. Everything on regular show is clearly written for 30-year-olds and up. And yet, for whatever reason, the fact that it's birds and badgers makes it okay for 10-year-olds to watch as well. But it's like, it's so clearly a celebration of being an 80s kid.
And then everything else you watched, it looks like I also watched.
Yeah, which I'm sure we'll talk about on Spoiler in Time. Let's see, we got Captain America, we got Cosmos, we got Game of Thrones. I did not watch the latest episode of Archer. I apologize. I feel terrible about that.
That's okay. We got a chock full game because I watched The Shield episodes 6 and 7 on Amazon Prime using my Fire TV, mind you.
Nice.
And I called Brian after episode 6, and I was like, I think I'm turning the corner.
It's pretty. By the way, can I say for the record, like, I get unusually excited when my phone rings and it's like 10 or 11 p.m. on a Saturday night and it's Tom, because I know it's not business. I know that he's calling maybe a couple of whiskeys in to share with me what he's recently discovered. He's like, Brian, it finally happened. I'm watching The Shield. This is amazing.
Right. And actually, I turned the corner on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well.
What?
I caught up because I wanted to catch up in front of Captain America because there's a reference to Captain America in the last episode from last week. And as I'm catching up, like feeling like this is a duty, I started enjoying it. They had an episode that was a crossover from Thor with, is it Sif? Am I saying that right?
Sure.
Yes.
That was amazing. It was like, this is what I want Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to be. It doesn't have to be the big names, but give me something from the universe crossing in. So that makes me excited to watch next week's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., of course, as well as what happened in Captain America.
Yeah, right on. By the way, they are not being shy about promoting the hell out of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., given the wake of the implications of what happened in the Captain America movie, all of which we'll talk about when it's Spoiler in Time.
And I also, just to complete what I've been watching this past week, I watched another Rick and Morty that became available. Haven't lost a foot there. I did watch the Silicon Valley, and I found it better than betas. You can watch that on YouTube.
Okay,
and you can watch Rick and Morty on AdultSwim.com.
Let's talk a little bit about Silicon Valley because because it was a story in there. I watched the first third of it on YouTube. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. The opening with Kid Rock and that stuff was like, I've been to that party. I've been there and I've seen this happen. I thought it was all spot on. And I would imagine, now keep in mind, I'm polluted by the fact that I've spent the last 6 years going to these parties and meeting these people and being at these experiences. But I adored it and I can't wait to finish watching it.
All right. And then I watched Night Attack on DiamondClub.tv. That belongs in here. It's something I watch.
You know what? That's really weird for you to say because, you know, obviously I'm one half of that team, but like Justin and I we've watched our own show and we're like, man, it's a really funny show now. I mean, not that it wasn't funny before, but like Unrestricted, it's real honest and it's fast and it's dense and it's a good show. Check it out every Tuesday night. If you go to diamondclub.tv, you can watch live or go to nightattack.tv to tune in to past episodes.
Let's get to some dispatches from the front. Yeah. Or to the back. We don't discriminate.
Whoa. Wow.
Dispatch your emails from whatever side.
Hey man, Woody writes us says CBS said maybe they would pull out a broadcast. Tom mentioned that they might do in changing programming over the air broadcast, but doesn't CBS statement go counter to the primary reason for a lawsuit, and that is that rebroadcast fees and how a big money maker it is? Woody, what do you say to that, Tom?
Well, Woody, yes, it does not run counter to that because they only get the rebroadcast fees for the people who pay to carry the broadcast. And what CBS would do is pull over-the-air broadcast, but they wouldn't pull the channel from cable. Cable people wouldn't know anything was different. So what is on over-the-air right now would still go directly to the cable companies, just the way all TV shows can go to the cable companies without going over the air, and they would still get their transmission fees. In fact, they'd have more ground to stand on because they wouldn't be over-the-air broadcast anymore, and they would be unrestricted in how they could negotiate for the fees and how they could ask for them. And over the air would become something else. So maybe I could see where Woody was coming from, like, well, wait a minute, but if it's not going over the air, then the cable companies don't get it and they lose the broadcast fees. No, they don't. They can still deliver that channel in another way.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. I've actually gone all the way around where I'm like, good riddance. Please hurry up and stop broadcasting over the air. What a ridiculous. You want us to listen on our CB radios? Is that what we should do? Over, continue your broadcast, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I'm on the fence on that because ideally, in the long run, I don't want bandwidth, spectrum wasted on over-the-air broadcasts because
that's a dumb,
spectrum could be used for a lot of other things that are better. But at the same time, I get a lot of programming over the air for free that I can record on my TiVo, and a lot of people in our audience get that too, and that's a great source of programming. So cord cutters don't want over the air to go away.
I mean, okay, if you're a cost-conscious cord killer, then yes. But what if you don't care about the cost and you just think it's dumb?
No, if you sleep in a bed of money like we do, Brian, obviously.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. That was the patron money talking. I'm sorry, Tom. I didn't mean that. What else you got?
Speaking of money, though, Derek wrote in and said, I'm not sure if you guys caught this story. YouTube is offering advertisers some guarantees. I think we did mention it. He says, with upfront season in full swing, Google is taking some new approaches in their agreements with advertisers. What is particularly of interest is this. YouTube also plans to reserve space for advertisers that agree to buy in advance in the best performing 5% of its content across channels such as beauty and fashion, comedy, food, music, and sports. In the last few years, MCNs, that's multi-channel networks, have been building up business models around selling ads around original content on YouTube. With YouTube looking to take that top 5% of the best content on their platform, we may see a shift in how these companies work. There have always been questions about the profitability and sustainability to how these MCNs operate. There's a place like Maker Studios. In fact, as of late, we've seen major changes with companies like Machinima and Maker Studios, both of which made deals with major studios. In fact, Maker Studios got entirely acquired by Disney. It'll be interesting to see how this new arrangement works out for all parties. Personally, I think we're still in the middle of this shift in content delivery. We'll probably continue to see these companies evolve over time.
Man, that's a tough thing for me because I am a very conflicted, very interested third party, and you should not believe anything I say because especially Scam School is, I guess it's legitimate to say that Scam School is the #1 magic tutorial site on all of YouTube, right?
Possibly. I think you got a fair argument there.
Yeah.
Short of having proof, I would guess. Yeah.
Well, as somebody who spends a lot of time Googling to find out whether or not he's #1,
right.
like we're creeping up on 700,000 subscribers, but perversely, I don't own the Scam School page. That was, co-founded with me in Revision 3, now owned by Discovery. So I find myself in a position to be a beneficiary of this kind of thing, where if YouTube is going to start offering a minimum, then it might as well be my channel. But I'm very aware that the reason that the Scam School channel is doing so well is partly because of the partnership where I don't own it. And so I feel like this is one of those things where not the content creators, but the content owners, the people who were smart enough to get these, what we've previously called onerous agreements in the past, are the ones who are going to benefit from this. And that's a bit of a bummer to me, but it also seems kind of like the natural of order of things. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. When you step back a little, you sort of say, well, in the long run, this is what you would expect to happen. Right. You would expect if money is going to shift from television to the internet, this is how it would do it. It would start by going, oh, wow, you have some really popular stuff. What can we do to guarantee, a little bit of placement on your best stuff? Let's start there.
Yeah.
And that means the money's going to start flowing in.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's really interesting. And keep in mind, I'm a little bit sensitive about all this. I didn't mention this before to you, Tom, but I shot a video last night about the ethics of teaching magic on YouTube because that's a touchy subject among magicians, and I posted it on the Scam School channel because I knew that was the one that had the most distribution on it. It's really weird to watch a fundamentally changing landscape and watch all of us try to figure out what the new rules are and this kind of thing. And I feel like this is another symptom of all of us not knowing what's right in the
which is entirely why we do this show.
Exactly, right?
Doing a show like it for 3 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I think it's that just ended up being the perfect way to wrap up this episode of Cordkillers, because I've been having some discussions with people, and very good, respectful, and fruitful discussions with people who are like, I don't like this about what you guys have been doing on the show. I think that you need to have more of this kind of stuff and that kind of stuff. And one of the things I've wrapped my head around is, we're not trying to be the show that advances cord cutting. And so maybe we shouldn't have gone all aggressive with the name, but we just liked it too much. We couldn't resist. But this show is about covering this transition and what it means to us, the consumers, the people on the ground who are like, I want to watch what I want. It's about that. I want to watch what I want, when I want, where I want it. And I'm going to be able to do that. How's that going to happen?
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, in fact, anything I say beyond this point, I'll regret. So I say it's time for us to wrap up this episode, for us to thank all of our fabulous patrons who make things possible at patreon.com/cordkillers. Stick around. We're going to talk in spoiler in time about a whole bunch of mess of shows. What else we got, Tom?
Frame. I knew that was going to happen at some point. Cordkillers@gmail.com is our email address. Cordkillers.com to subscribe to both the video, the audio, or one or the other of those. And you can leave messages there. We get a lot of great messages from people just on the blog. We'll talk to you next week. Again, if you want to watch live, diamondclub.tv at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. See you then.
Yeah.
Doom.